In 1970, heavy metal was born with the debut album by Black Sabbath. After that, many bands started to come out and try to emulate that sound, that early proto-metal, or we can call it doom metal. There were bands like Bang, Saint Vitus, Pentagram, and Trouble. There were a lot more, but I won't mention them because this video is not about that. It's about a band called The Obsessed that was formed around this time. Even though their debut album came out much later, I'll get into all of that, and we'll talk about the new album called Gilded Sorrow, which is the follow-up to the album Sacred from 2017, an album that was the first release after a long 23-year break. This band has a dedicated fan base, or shall I say, they are obsessed. So now that I got that obligatory dad joke out of the way, let's continue. First, let's do some history. The band started by Scott Wino Weinrich. He started the band in 1976 under the name Warhorse. Then they changed the name to Leather Nuns in the late 70s, and they were more of a punk rock band. They relocated to Rockville, Maryland, and renamed the band again, calling it The Obsessed. They began to write music, and they went through multiple lineup changes. Fast forward to the late 80s, Wino joins another band called Saint Vitus. They were a very popular doom metal band back in the 80s. The Obsessed self-titled debut album did not come out until 1990, even though it was recorded back in 1985. They released a few more albums in the early 90s, such as Lunar Womb and The Church Within. They eventually broke up in the mid-90s. After that, Wino joined a few different bands, such as Spirit Caravan and a few others. He appeared on that Dave Grohl album, Probot. I have a full review of that album. I will link it at the end. The band eventually reformed in 2016 and released the aforementioned album Sacred in 2017. This brings us to the album in question called Gilded Sorrow. Let's talk about this new album. One thing that you will find in this album are riffs. There are a lot of those slow and heavy Black Sabbath style guitar riffs that drive the songs. For example, the opening track, Daughter of an Echo, has a main riff that really drives the entire rhythm of the song. Here's a clip of that. The next song is called It's Not Okay. This is another one where the main riff really drives the song, so here's a clip of that. These first two songs are really upbeat songs that are still like slow and doomy, but what they have in common is that they're more reminiscent of some of those old bluesy heavy metal songs of the 70s. This brings us to the next chapter. Let's talk about some of the bluesy Sabbath-inspired songs that are on the album. In addition to the first two tracks, there were a few others that would fit this description. I would say track number 3, Realize a Dream, fits this description with its foot-stomping guitar riff and bluesy guitar sounds. I thought this one had a cool groove with melodic leads. Then there were a few songs towards the end of the album, such as the song Jaylene, which I found to be more traditional metal with some harder driving rhythms. That song was a bit more energetic, and some of the songs in the middle of the album, which I'll talk about in chapter 3. I also felt that the song Yen Sleep had more of that proto-metal sound, but also hints of alternative rock and some feedback in the guitars. All these songs had lots of lead guitar work that accompanied the main guitar riffs that worked well with the song, so let me also mention that the drumming was very good and they used a lot of different drum patterns. But there were still a few more songs I did not talk about, yet those are the songs that were mainly in the middle of the album, and these were the stoner metal songs.
You shall not pass an unlit joint, man. That's just not cool.
On these songs, they slowed it down and created these atmospheric and cavernous tones. This is why I chose the cave motif for my background. These songs start with track number 4, which is called Gilded Sorrow, or the title track. The song was more something you would hear from a stoner metal band like Bongzilla. There were Middle Eastern sounds in the guitars. The vocals were different. They were slightly distorted. The sound was raw and the guitar solo had more feedback. Let me play a clip of that. Then there's a song, Stoned Back to the Bomb Age, which is such a stoner metal title if there ever was one. This one had some slow riffs with psychedelic influences. The sound was like the dank weed that you just smoked before watching this video. So let me play a clip of that. Then there's a song Wellspring, and this song just flows naturally from the one before it. It was some more slow and heavy guitar riffs. I just drove the song. Then there's one more song on the album, just a minute long. It's called Lucky Free Nice Machine. It was another atmospheric and cavernous song. It was very short, so I don't have much to say about it. Now for my final thoughts. I thought it was good. It didn't really blow me away. I thought the biggest issue was that I'm more of a fan of that like Black Sabbath style of doom metal, but I'm not really into the stoner doom sound. For me, if a song is really slow and droning, I sometimes lose interest. I don't really listen to subgenres of stoner metal and funeral doom and drone metal. I probably liked half the album better than the other half, but I could appreciate it. It's a short album. It's only 36 minutes long. Something I don't mind to listen to every now and then, but I don't think it's something I will go back to often. But at the same time, I didn't hate it. So I think I would give it a score at about like a 7 out of 10. Let me know what you think. And if you remember, I mentioned the Dave Grohl and Probot. I did a full review of that. You can check that out. I'm going to stick that right there. And also because I mentioned Wino in that album review. And to be honest, that's actually the only reason I'm reviewing this album, because I had never heard of this band before this. I had to research from scratch. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Like this video, helps me with the YouTube algorithm. I will see you in the next one.